Have you ever felt frustrated helping someone only to realize they didn't even care? Why do we give so much to people who waste our time, drain our energy, and never change? The Stoics believed in living with intention. They understood that helping everyone isn't virtuous. It's foolish. Real wisdom lies in knowing who deserves your time and energy and who doesn't. This isn't about being selfish. It's about being smart, because every moment spent on the wrong people is a moment stolen from your own growth, your own peace, your own life. In this video, we're breaking down the 10 types of people you should stop helping immediately. From the takers to the ungrateful, these people don't just misuse your help, they misuse your trust. You'll learn how to recognize these behaviors, why they're harmful, and how to take back control of your time and energy. Before we dive in, I just want to say thank you for watching. Your time and attention mean everything to me. If you find this content helpful, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel. When you do, you're not just supporting me, you're helping YouTube share this message with more people who need to hear it. So, go ahead, click it. I appreciate you. All right, let's dive in. Here are the 10 types of people who don't deserve your help and why it's time to let them go. 1. The taker. The taker. We all know one. They drain your time, energy, and kindness, offering nothing in return. At first, they may appear grateful, but it's an illusion. To a taker, your generosity isn't a kindness. It's a right they believe they're owed. You're not a friend. You're a resource. Reflect for a moment. When was the last time a taker gave back? A genuine thank you? A favor? Anything meaningful? You can't remember because takers don't give. They take, relentlessly, and the more you give, the more they expect. It's a bottomless pit. Helping them doesn't improve them. It drains you. It breeds resentment. The Stoics teach us to guard our limited time and energy. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Supporting a taker is wasting what's most precious on someone who will never appreciate it. Here's how to spot a taker. They never give back. They disappear when you need help. They always ask for more, no matter how much you've already given. So what's the solution? You stop. Stop giving them your time. Stop pouring your energy into them. Stop helping. Not out of cruelty, but because it's the healthiest choice for both of you. When you stop enabling takers, you create room for what matters. You attract people who appreciate you, who reciprocate, who bring value into your life. You reclaim your time, your energy, and your peace. Never forget, you're not a resource. You're not here to be used. You're a person. Your time is invaluable. Your energy is sacred. Protect them from those who only take and never give back. 2. The Denier. The Denier is someone who refuses to confront reality. They reject their problems, dismiss their mistakes, and often ignore the truth entirely. You try to help, but they won't see it. They won't change. They won't even acknowledge what's staring them in the face. Helping a Denier is like steering a ship for someone who refuses to open their eyes. They choose to stay blind, clinging to illusions. You offer them tools to fix their life, but they reject the tools, and you along with them. A Denier always finds an excuse. It's not my fault. That's not the real issue. You just don't get it. They deflect, resist, and twist reality to fit their narrative, no matter how much damage it causes, to themselves or to you. The harder you try, the more stubborn they become. Why? Because facing reality requires change, and change demands effort, discomfort, and accountability, things a Denier avoids at all costs. Helping a Denier isn't an act of kindness, it's an exercise in futility. You can't force someone to accept the truth. The Stoics remind us to focus on what we can control and release what we cannot. Pouring energy into a Denier only drains you, while they remain unchanged. How do you recognize a denier? They avoid hard truths. They blame others for their issues. They dismiss clear evidence no matter how undeniable. You can point out the cracks in their life, but they'll insist everything is fine, right up until it falls apart. Stop trying to save the denier. Let them face reality on their own terms. Only then will they have the chance to grow. Redirect your efforts to people who are ready to evolve. Helping a denier doesn't bring them clarity. It only leaves you frustrated. Save your energy for those who are ready to face the truth. 3. People who don't value your time. Time is your most precious resource. Once spent, it's gone forever. So why are you giving it to people who don't value it? These are the people who show up late without a word of apology. The ones who cancel at the last minute or don't bother to show up at all. The ones who expect instant responses but take days to reply themselves. They don't just waste minutes. They steal your focus, your energy, and your opportunities. And here's the hard truth: they don't care. To them, your time isn't important, because if it were, they'd treat it and you differently. People who don't value your time don't value you. If they truly cared, they'd show respect. They'd honor your effort. They'd treat your time as they would their own. But instead, they waste it, carelessly, selfishly, consistently. Why do we let this happen? Maybe we're avoiding conflict. Maybe we tell ourselves it's not a big deal. But every time you allow someone to disregard your time, you're silently telling them it's okay, and they will keep doing it. The Stoics remind us to safeguard what's in our control. Your time is yours to protect. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could be good today, but instead, you choose tomorrow." When you give your time to people who don't value it, you're giving away today and all the tomorrows that follow. How do you spot these people? They're habitual cancelers or reschedulers. They expect you to wait, but they never do. They're chronically late, unprepared, or disorganized. And how do you feel? Frustrated, resentful, drained. Those emotions aren't random. They're signals, warnings that your time is being disrespected. Stop giving your time to people who don't deserve it. Set boundaries. Say no. Invest your energy in those who respect your effort, who value your presence, and who make your time feel well spent. Because time wasted on the wrong people isn't just lost, it's life you'll never get back. Protect it fiercely. 4. The Perpetual Victim. The Perpetual Victim. They're trapped in a loop of self-pity, where the world is unfair, everyone is against them, and nothing is ever their fault. At first you feel compelled to help. You think, maybe if I lift them up this time they'll move forward, but they won't. Because the perpetual victim isn't interested in moving forward, they're committed to staying stuck. Why? Because it allows them to avoid the one thing they fear most: responsibility. Here's the truth. Helping a perpetual victim doesn't fix anything. They don't want solutions, they want excuses. You offer advice and they dismiss it as unworkable. You give them tools and they misuse or ignore them. You try to empower them and they push back with resistance. Why? Because taking responsibility means they'd have to confront hard truths. It means owning their mistakes, putting in effort, and risking failure. The victim avoids all of that by staying in their comfort zone of blame. To them, it's easier to point fingers than to look in the mirror. The Stoics teach us to focus on what's within our control. And here's the hard reality. You can't make the victim take responsibility for their life. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." But the victim refuses to even approach the obstacle, choosing excuses over action. How do you recognize a perpetual victim? They complain endlessly but take no action. Every conversation circles back to how the world has wronged them. They reject every suggestion with excuses that absolve them of effort. And what does this do to you? It frustrates you, drains you, and leaves you stuck in their cycle. That's your red flag. Stop enabling their avoidance of responsibility. Helping them isn't help. It's a crutch that keeps them from standing on their own. Every moment you spend supporting their victimhood is a moment lost on someone who's ready to take charge of their life. Focus your energy on people who are willing to grow, who face their struggles head-on, and who turn challenges into opportunities. Those are the ones who will rise, and they won't drag you down in the process. Helping a perpetual victim doesn't liberate them. It only deepens their dependence and avoidance. 5. The lazy. The lazy. They avoid work, effort, and responsibility at all costs, yet expect others to step in and carry the weight for them. At first, helping the lazy feels harmless, maybe even noble. You think you're giving them a head start, but you're not. You're doing their work, and the more you do, the less they will. The lazy aren't asking for help because they're stuck. They're asking because it's easy. They avoid growth, effort, and change. Why struggle when someone else is willing to step in and do it for them? Here's the reality. Helping the lazy doesn't inspire progress. It enables stagnation. Each time you step in, you reinforce their behavior. You make it easier for them to sidestep effort and harder for them to take initiative. In the process, you rob them and the world of what they could have achieved through their own action. The Stoics valued effort, action, and discipline. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." By avoiding effort, the lazy squander their potential. And when you help them, you allow that potential to go untapped. How can you recognize the lazy? They shy away from hard work. They craft excuses to justify inaction. They always wait for someone else to take the lead. And while you're stepping in, you feel it. Frustration, resentment, and the weight of their inaction. Because deep down, you know every step you take for them is a step they'll never take for themselves. Helping the lazy doesn't just build dependence, it creates wasted potential. Every opportunity you hand them is one they'll never seize for themselves. And the world doesn't need more untapped potential. It needs action. Step back. Let them face the reality of their choices. Let them feel the consequences of their inaction. Only then will they be forced to rise, to act, and to grow. 6. The deaf one. The deaf one is the person who asks for your advice but never truly listens. They nod politely, pretend to care, and then do the exact opposite of what you suggested. Initially, you think they're genuinely seeking your wisdom. You invest time, energy, and effort to listen and provide thoughtful solutions. But over time, it becomes painfully clear. They're not here to grow. They're here to vent, to offload their problems, and to be heard, but not to act. The deaf one doesn't seek your insight. They seek validation. They want a sounding board, not a roadmap. And the more you try to help, the more you feel your words falling on deaf ears. Here's the truth. Giving advice to someone who won't listen isn't just frustrating. It's draining. It's like pouring water into a broken vessel. No matter how much you give, it will never hold. The deaf one thrives on this cycle. They come back with the same problem, spinning the same story, endlessly repeating their complaints. You offer solutions, and they brush them aside. Why? Because solutions require action, and action requires discomfort. They avoid both at all costs. Listening to your advice would mean they have to change, take responsibility, or confront their reality. And that's what they fear most. Staying stuck is safer, easier. The Stoics teach us to focus on what's in our control. Marcus Aurelius said, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change." But the deaf one rejects this. They resist growth, preferring the comfort of their habits over the challenge of transformation. How do you spot the deaf one? They ask for advice but ignore it completely. They return with the same issues, never progressing. They dismiss, deflect, or make excuses for every suggestion. This endless loop doesn't just waste your energy, it drains your spirit. The more you try, the more you feel unheard and unappreciated. Stop pouring your wisdom into someone who refuses to use it. Let them wrestle with their own choices. Let them feel the consequences of inaction. Because every moment you spend on the deaf one is a moment you could be helping someone ready to grow. Save your words for those who will hear them, value them, and act on them. Those are the people who deserve your time. 7. The chronic complainer. The chronic complainer. They always have something to grumble about. Always. Nothing is ever good enough, and no matter how much you try to help, it's never enough. At first, you think you're being a good friend. You listen patiently to their endless grievances. You offer advice, solutions, and encouragement. But here's the hard truth. They don't want solutions. They want attention. They want someone to share in their negativity. For the chronic complainer, complaining isn't a way to solve problems. It's a way of life. It's their default setting, their comfort zone. It's how they engage with the world, by pulling others into their negativity and frustration. Helping a chronic complainer doesn't improve their situation. It amplifies their complaints. The more energy you give them, the more they drain from you. Every interaction leaves you emotionally exhausted. You walk away feeling frustrated, powerless, and weighed down by their negativity. And still, nothing changes. Why? Because they're not interested in change. They reject solutions, dismiss positivity, and find reasons why nothing will ever work. The Stoics teach us to guard our peace and focus on what cultivates clarity and growth. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." But the chronic complainer doesn't seek clarity. They thrive on chaos. They want to pull you into their storm, draining your joy in the process. How do you recognize a chronic complainer? Every conversation centers on their problems and frustrations. They reject advice with excuses like, "That won't work," or "You don't understand." Their negativity overwhelms any attempt to bring positivity or progress. And you feel it every time. The emotional toll, the frustration, the pointlessness of trying to help someone who's only interested in wallowing. Stop giving your energy to the chronic complainer. Let them sit with their negativity. Let them feel the weight of their own mindset. Protect your emotional space, because every moment spent in their storm is a moment stolen from your peace. When you step back, you create room for people who value growth, positivity, and action. These are the people who deserve your time and energy, not those who endlessly wallow in negativity. Helping a chronic complainer doesn't just amplify their problems, it diminishes your peace. Step away and reclaim your emotional balance. Revised version with focus on fear as a driving factor. 8. The resistant to change. The resistant to change isn't just stuck. They're afraid. Afraid of failure, afraid of success, afraid of the unknown. No matter how much you try to help, they won't move. Not because they can't, but because their fear holds them back. At first you think they need encouragement, a gentle push, some guidance to help them take the first step. But here's the truth. The resistant to change doesn't want to grow. Change is uncomfortable, and they'd rather stay in their familiar misery than risk stepping into the unknown. You can point out the path, even clear it for them, but they won't walk it. They cling to their habits, their excuses, and their fears like a shield. And every time you try to help, you're met with resistance. Helping someone who fears change isn't generosity, it's futility. The more you push, the harder they pull back. The more you try, the more they retreat into their comfort zone. Why? Because change requires effort. It means letting go of their excuses, taking responsibility, and confronting uncertainty. Fear keeps them paralyzed. So instead of acting, they rationalize their inaction with excuses. It's just how I am. It's too hard. You don't understand my situation. These aren't explanations. They're walls they've built to avoid stepping into the unknown. They fear what lies on the other side, so they stay where it's safe, even if it's unfulfilling. The Stoics remind us to focus on what we can control. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The resistant to change doesn't react. They freeze, and no amount of your effort can overcome their fear for them. How do you recognize the resistant to change? They talk endlessly about their problems, but never act on solutions. They dismiss advice with excuses and rationalizations. They repeat the same mistakes, unwilling to learn or grow. You feel it. You're pouring energy into someone who refuses to take action. You're solving problems they aren't ready to face. Stop trying to move someone who's frozen by fear. Let them face the consequences of their inaction. Let them confront their fears on their own terms. That's the only way they'll ever grow. Because helping the resistant to change doesn't eliminate their fear. It only enables their stagnation. True growth begins when they choose to face the unknown themselves. 9. The ungrateful. The ungrateful. They take your time, energy, and effort and act like it's nothing. No thank you, no acknowledgement, no appreciation. Your help isn't seen as a kindness, it's treated as an obligation. At first, you might shrug it off, thinking, "I didn't do it for the gratitude." But over time, their silence speaks louder than words. The lack of recognition, the dismissal of your effort, it starts to wear you down, leaving you feeling invisible and unappreciated. Here's the truth. The ungrateful don't just ignore your efforts, they erode your spirit. Their behavior sends a message. You don't matter, and the more you give, the more their disregard grows. Helping the ungrateful isn't kindness, it's self-neglect. Their entitlement thrives on your generosity, while your sense of value diminishes. To the ungrateful, your efforts aren't a gift, they're a given. They view your time and kindness as their due, not as something to be cherished. Gratitude doesn't even cross their mind because, in their world, your help was already owed to them. And once they've drained you, they'll move on to someone else. To them, you're not a person. They're invested only in what you can provide. The Stoics remind us to act with purpose and intention. Marcus Aurelius said, "Kindness is invincible, but only when it's sincere, not fawning or self-serving." Helping the ungrateful isn't sincere, it's misplaced. It's pouring effort into a void that never fills. How do you recognize the ungrateful? They never express gratitude. They downplay your efforts as insignificant. They demand more even after you've given your all. You feel it, the quiet dismissal, the sense of being taken for granted. It's a subtle but persistent form of disrespect, and deep down, you know it's there. Stop giving to the ungrateful. Let them experience life without your support. Let them come to understand the value of time, effort, and kindness. Lessons they'll never learn as long as you keep giving. Helping the ungrateful doesn't uplift them, it diminishes you. It teaches them to take more, care less, and expect everything. Walk away. Gratitude is a two-way street, and you deserve to be on a path where your efforts are valued. 10. The repeat offender. The repeat offender. They make the same mistakes again and again, and every time they come back to you, with the same apologies, the same excuses, and the same empty promises to change. But they never do. At first you want to believe them. You think, maybe this time will be different. But it never is. The repeat offender doesn't seek change. They seek forgiveness. They want you to clean up their mess so they can go right back to making it again. This isn't progress. It's a cycle, a loop of regret, excuses, and failure. And every time you step in, you're enabling it. Helping a repeat offender isn't compassion, it's complicity. Each time you bail them out, you're telling them it's okay to keep failing. You're shielding them from the consequences they need to face. They avoid accountability because you make it easy for them. They don't grow because you erase their mistakes. And why would they change? You've taught them they don't have to. Forgiveness is powerful, but only when it's paired with accountability. The repeat offender uses forgiveness as a shortcut, a way to dodge growth and avoid change. Don't let them. Real growth demands consequences, not endless rescue missions. The Stoics remind us to let go of what we can't control. Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." The repeat offender believes that an apology is all they need to move on. In their mind, words replace action. How do you recognize a repeat offender? They say, "I'm sorry," but their actions remain the same. They return with the same problems, over and over. They seek help, but never take steps to improve. You feel it, the frustration, the exhaustion. You see the pattern repeating itself, and you know it will never end unless you step back. Stop rescuing the repeat offender. Let them experience the weight of their actions. Let them confront the consequences of their behavior. Only then will they have a chance to grow. Because every time you save a repeat offender, you're teaching them that accountability doesn't matter, that failure has no cost, and that someone else will always fix their mistakes. Helping a repeat offender doesn't break the cycle, it fuels it, and it pulls you in along the way. Step back and let them take responsibility for their own growth. Listen carefully. Your time, your energy, your focus, these are your most valuable assets. Wasting them on people who don't deserve them isn't generosity. It's stupidity. The Stoics weren't cold-hearted, they were clear-minded. They understood that helping the wrong people isn't virtuous, it's harmful. Harmful to you, harmful to them, and harmful to the people who actually deserve your time. So stop. Stop helping the takers, the lazy, the ungrateful. Start helping yourself. Start focusing on people who truly matter. Because every minute you waste on the undeserving is a minute stolen from the life you're meant to live. You can't fix everyone. You're not supposed to. And that's okay. Focus on what's within your control and let the rest go. If this hit a nerve, good. That means my video gave you some clarity, maybe even a bit of help, and that makes me happy. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you dealt with people like this? How did it feel? What did you do? Share your experience in the comments. I promise I'll read every single one. And yes, I'll reply to every comment too. If you're not sure what to say, just write, "Feel the same," or hit the like button. It's a small action, but it gives me a huge motivation to keep improving and creating better, more meaningful videos for you. Your support fuels everything I do here. If this is your first time here, welcome to Stoic Realm. Please subscribe to the channel so you won't miss more insights that help you focus on what truly matters. Together, we'll learn how to live with clarity, strength, and purpose. More great content is on the way, and I'd love for you to be part of it. Thank you for spending your time here. It means a lot. Let's keep moving forward, together.